a city named after a dictator, and a battle ordered by another. When the guns of the Wehrmacht fell silent on February 2, 1943, the fate of the Second World War changed forever, and the myth of the Nazi invincibility died in the rubble of Stalingrad. Stalingrad, stretched along the Volga River, a vital industrial and transport hub in southern Russia, its factories produce armaments and tractors, and the city controlled critical rail and waterway links connecting southern Russia with the east. For the Nazi war machine, capturing Stalingrad meant more than territory. It struck both strategic and symbolic targets. By seizing the city that bore Joseph Stalin's name, the Germans hoped for a massive propaganda victory. The goals behind the assault: cut Soviet transport and resource lines via the Volga, secure the southern flank, and open the way to the oil-rich Caucasus region, a critical goal in the Germany's 1942 summer offensive, Operation Blue. Thus, the battle for Stalingrad became both a test of will and a high-stakes gamble for the future of the Eastern Front. In summer 1942, under the broader plan of Fall Blau, the German forces, part of Army Group South, were ordered to push into the southern Russia. The aim was to seize territories, capture key cities, and reach strategic economic resources. By July, German units under General Friedrich Paulus began advancing toward Stalingrad with considerable strength. Hundreds of thousands of men, tanks, artillery, and support units. Despite logistical challenges and strain of supply lines, especially given the simultaneous push toward the Caucasus, the advance continued. The pace was slow, but by late August 1942, the spearheads reached the suburbs of Stalingrad. But Stalin and the Soviet High Command had already prepared for defense. They mobilized massive forces, transferred divisions east of the Urals, and committed to hold the city at all costs. As German tanks and infantry entered Stalingrad, the nature of the war shifted dramatically. What was meant to be mobile blitzkrieg became grinding urban warfare. House by house, street by street, tanks lost much of their advantage. Soviet defenders turned the ruins into kill zones. The defenders and the commanders like Vasily Chuikov used snipers, camouflage, machine gun nests, artillery in ruined buildings, and relentless close-quarter fighting. German soldiers, trained for rapid movement and open-field battles, found themselves trapped in destroyed factories, bombed apartments, cellars, and rubble-filled streets. Losses soared, resources dwindled. Meanwhile, the civilians, thousands remained in the city because of orders not to evacuate, became victims of indiscriminated bombing and artillery. By mid-September, German forces controlled parts of the city, but the fighting had devolved into brutal attrition. The Soviets held onto narrow strips along the Volga and kept supply lines open across the river, keeping the defense alive. By November 1942, the Soviets launched a massive counteroffensive, Operation relentless, striking not at the German front at Stalingrad directly, but hitting the weak flanks held largely by Axis Allied units, like Romanians, Italians, and Hungarians. In just a few days, the Soviet pincers met near Kalach, west of Stalingrad. The encirclement was complete. Approximately 300,000 Axis troops were trapped inside the city and its surroundings. German High Command urged a retreat, but Adolf Hitler forbade any withdrawals. The Sixth Army was ordered to hold its ground at all costs. Supplies by air were attempted, but the Luftwaffe could deliver only a fraction of what was needed. Food, ammunition, medical supplies dwindled as winter deepened. Hunger, cold, and disease joined bullets as enemies. By late January 1943, the trapped Sixth Army had exhausted food, ammunition, and fuel. Many soldiers were starving or freezing. On January 30, 1943, Hitler promoted Paulus to Field Marshal, a rank no German had ever surrendered with, implicitly telling him to commit suicide rather than to be captured. But Paulus refused. The next day, he surrendered to the Soviets. By February 2, 1943, the battle was over. About 91,000 Axis troops and Allied soldiers surrendered. The rest were killed in combat. Many died in Soviet captivity. The Axis losses in manpower, morale, and credibility were devastating. The human cost was enormous. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers on both sides, tens of thousands of civilians, and the city reduced to rubble. Stalingrad was more than a battle. It marked a turning point of the Eastern Front. The defeat shattered the myth of German invincibility. The Wehrmacht would never again launch a massive summer offensive with the same momentum. For the Soviet unit, the victory boosted morale, validated the industrial efforts east of the Urals, and proved that the Red Army could stand firm under devastating pressure. After Stalingrad, Germany was mostly on the defensive, reacting, retreating, trying to hold lines rather than expanding them. The momentum had shifted irrevocably. Stalingrad isn't just a battle in history books. It was a crucible of suffering, courage, and endurance. A city turned into ruins. Soldiers and civilians alike endured horrors, cold, starvation, and relentless fighting. Today, monuments stand in what is now Volgograd. On Mamayev Hill, the statue, the Motherland Calls, towers, a memorial to the defenders, the fallen, and the survivors. When we talk about World War II, about heroism, about the fight against tyranny, we remember Stalingrad. Because there, in the ruins and the snow, the war changed forever.
Hi, my name is Mike. Welcome to the Lay Historian channel. If you like the content, please subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.